There are multiple classes in Dead Rails, but which is truly the best? To find out, I'm going to be creating a tier list on every class and seeing which ones are the best for solo runs. Coming at last place is going to be Musician class. This class is literally useless if you play solo, because you literally don't even spawn with a shovel, so you can't even fight back against the zombies or any enemy you face. And all you have is a banjo. And this banjo doesn't even do anything special unless you have a teammate. So the banjo basically heals your teammates, but since if you're going to be playing solo, you literally can't do anything. It doesn't even heal you one bit. So that is why it's coming in last place. Coming at number 16 is going to be Zombie class. This class is also pretty useless, but at least it's better than Musician class. The Zombie class has two passives and one debuff. The first passive allows you to eat corpses of enemies. After eating a corpse, you heal just a bit. And here is where the debuff comes in. Because you are able to eat corpses, you can no longer use bandages or snake oils, which I think is pretty bad, making this class suck. And the second passive, actually a good passive, is where enemies detect you less. But it is still pretty useless, so this is why this class is at number 16. At number 15 is going to be the horse class. This class doesn't have anything really special, but you become the horse and you have a faster speed. So there really isn't anything that special but having a faster speed. I just believe this class is better than Zombie and Musician, as having more speed is actually pretty useful for running away from enemies and stuff. But that's basically what horse class does, and this is where it's going to be placed. Next up is Ironclad at number 14. The reason why is its cost. It costs 100 bonds just to get a full suit of armor, and you have a 10% debuff in speed, which makes this class kind of suck. But the good thing about having a full set of armor is you're able to tank a lot of hits. So in this time lapse, you can see how many hits I take from the zombie, and that is basically all the class does, and that is why it's going to be placed at number 14. Coming at number 13 is going to be Miner class. You spawn with 2 coal, a pickaxe, and the miner's helmet. But the bad thing about this class, although it has literally 0 debuffs, is with the general store update, you're actually able to just purchase the pickaxe and miner's helmet, which then makes this class utterly useless. But we're going to talk about the cons. If you spawn in with a pickaxe and miner's helmet, you can see in the dark, and with the pickaxe, you can mine ores literally so quickly. You only need to swing it twice and you just get the ore. The only reason it's at 13 is because what I said with the general store. After just purchasing a pickaxe and the miner's helmet, it's just useless. So coming at number 12 is going to be the Conductor class. Although you spawn with 2 coal and you are able to drive the train faster, you literally can't even fight back because you don't spawn with a shovel or any melee weapon, which then makes this class kind of difficult to use. It is only good for when you're playing with other players though, as you could just speedrun the game, you'll be protected, and you'll be the one driving the train, which goes quicker, and you can easily finish the game. But the only reason it's here is because during solo runs, you literally can't fight back, which makes this class kinda useless. Next up is the Alamo class. You spawn with 3 sheet metals and 3 barbed wires, which is good for team runs, but is quite bad for solo runs because you can literally just do the 3 newspaper defense, and that is already better than having 3 sheet metals, which is kind of crazy. But I guess it could be really useful during pacifist runs or unkillable, because you could just go straight to 80,000 meters if you have the coal for it and just pull out a sheet metal. And yeah, that's basically the only use this class has when you're doing solo runs, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Coming at number 10 is going to be the Priest class. You spawn with 2 holy waters and 2 crucifix, and these can be used to clear towns very quickly. And the passive is you are immune to lightning strikes, which I feel like is kinda a useless passive because you literally don't get struck by lightning that often. And yeah, that's pretty much this class. Next up is Arsonist class. I feel like this class is just slightly better than Priest class, so it is ahead of Priest. And you spawn with 4 Molotovs, and its passive is you do 2 times flame damage with the Molotov. And this class is much better than at clearing towns than the Priest class. As you can see, the damage with the Molotov is pretty insane, and you can easily clear towns just like that. That is why it is number 9. At number 8 is Doctor class. I feel like this class doesn't have much of a use when you're doing solo runs, but being able to sell the bandages and snake oil right as you load in, and this gets you almost $110 right as you start the game, which means you can also just buy a rifle, ammo, and a piece of coal, which I feel like this is pretty good for starting, and I don't think you really need the snake oils and bandages at 10,000 meters, as I feel like having a rifle is much better than having 2 snake oils and 2 bandages, making this class number 8. Next up, we have the Necromancer class. This class is able to reincarnate enemies at a 25% chance, but you do lose a bit of your health. That is the debuff on this class. It is basically reanimated, but just worded as reincarnated. Pretty sure combined with the Jade Katana, it will be very OP. And this reincarnation thing only works with melee weapons, so shovels, cavalry swords, tomahawks, jade swords, all of those work except guns, like the rifle, for example. Next up, we have the Packmaster. With the Packmaster, you spawn with 3 tamed wolves immediately, and you are able to tame wolves just by taking damage. You can't tame werewolves, but you can tame wolves. And the good thing about wolves, when they are tamed, you're able to sack them and actually weld them to the train, so they don't go away. So that's the good thing about wolves, and you can create like a huge army. By the end of the game, you might have up to like 20 or 40 of them, and they can just attack all the enemies at once and just kill them all. The Cowboy class for playing solo is actually pretty good in my opinion, because you do start with a revolver with 2 sets of ammo, and you do also spawn with a horse. Generally, the horses is going to be used for Pony Express or just to like travel faster. I usually don't use the horse much, but I feel like a lot of players use it, so overall, pretty solid class. It's also really good for early game, because you most likely won't find a gun early game unless you do find like gunsmith or a sheriff very early. The revolver is going to be really useful. And yeah, let's move on to the next class. Next up, we have High Roller. I don't think it's supposed to be this high at number 4. I guess I might change my mind on its ranking for solo, but I still think it's a pretty decent class, as you get 1.5 times the amount of money every single time you sell something, which means you can get a lot of extra items, which can get you stacked up real quick. And I feel like this is a pretty okay class. I feel like if you use High Roller, you can win almost every single time. And yeah, that's basically High Roller. Next up, we have Survivalist at number 2 through 3. I feel like it's number 2 or 3. It does 1.8 times damage at full health, and when you're at the lowest of the low, you do 3 times the amount of damage, which is absolutely wild. And you can see I literally did one-shot all the zombies with my shotgun. And even with the tomahawk, it 2-shots zombies at almost full HP. And you can see here, it did almost half the HP with the tomahawk. And somehow here, I literally one-shot the zombie right there, which is crazy. So I feel like this class is still holding its spot at top 3 as one of the best classes in the game. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next class, and you probably will guess what it is. And then we have the Werewolf class. This class is also number 2 through 3, because I think the debuffs just make it a really bad class, but as well as the buffs, it makes it like literally the best class in the entire game. But basically, during the daytime, you get 0.9 times HP, damage, and speed, but during night, you get 2 times speed, 2 times health, and 2 times damage, which makes this class absolutely insane. So you can basically wipe out any town. If you have a full set of armor, you basically become invincible at nighttime. You literally probably can tank up to like 30 damage or 30 hits from a zombie, which is wild. And I genuinely, this class is just really good. But obviously, since this class is here, the next one's gonna be vampire, and I'm gonna say why it is better. Okay, it might be controversial to still have vampire at number 1. This is literally no glaze. It is still a really great class because you do spawn with the vampire knife, which also regenerates your health. And even having to take direct sunlight as its debuff, you can literally just gain all your HP back just by using the vampire knife, which makes it insane. And it does have increased melee damage, which means with the vampire knife, you do also get increased regeneration. And you also do have an increased speed. And I'm pretty sure this speed is pretty much similar to when werewolf is at its night state, where it has 2 times speed. But pretty sure vampire also has 2 times speed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But it seems like either 1.8 times speed or 2 times speed, which makes this still the best class in my opinion. Anyways, here are my final thoughts. All of this is my own opinion, so here is the tier list. And there's obviously some things I moved around. So instead of miner being at C tier, I actually put it back to B tier, because it is still pretty decent if you don't get miner class or pickaxe in your general stores. So I had to think of that. And another thing is I still kept high roller at A tier because I still feel like it's a pretty decent class to have during a solo run, because it would be really helpful during Nightmare, as you need money to buy stuff, of course. And another thing is I moved Priest and Arsonist up to B tier. It would have been C tier, but I did move them up because I feel like I would be getting hate if I didn't. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, but bye bye.